Because I can't resist, you note in your story that Google and YouTube declined to make any executives available for comment, and I'm just curious to know whether they were the only platform that didn't let you talk to anyone, and whether that's a typical experience when you're doing reporting on these topics.
Yeah, this was a story where I was really focusing on Google, Facebook, and Twitter. And so, yes, of the three companies, they were the only ones that did not offer anybody. I reported on Jigsaw in the past and have spoken with Yasmin Green a bunch. If you're not familiar with Jigsaw, that's basically, it used to be Google Ideas, and it basically is the subset of Alphabet that, focuses on emerging problems and emerging threats. So they have done a lot of research on, they did a lot of research on ISIS propaganda online. They have since moved on to studying domestic extremism and white supremacy. So I was able to get a direct line to them, but no, Google and YouTube did not offer to let me speak to anyone, despite my frequent requests. And yeah, that is, I would say that's a somewhat common theme. I won't paint with too broad a brush because I've been able to interview Susan in the past. I've been able to interview YouTube executives, but yeah, lately I've noticed they're a little bit more shut down, and I don't know if that's part of what you've regularly noted, Evelyn, which is that they are sort of happy to let Facebook keep tripping over itself and get yelled at by lawmakers and kind of keep their heads down. But there's certainly plenty to ask them about. And I think, I think the story was stronger because I had the insights from Brian and Nick at Facebook and Twitter to basically talk about things from their perspective. Of course, they're going to try to spin me a little bit. That's their jobs. They don't want to lose their job. But I felt like they were actually fairly candid, and I felt like that really helped the story. So I think the story would have benefited from some perspective from YouTube, particularly because what I did get from YouTube and from their spokespeople was basically confirmation of my point, which is that they said that we ban content at the content level, not the speaker level. The only people that we ban at the speaker level are people who are designated foreign terrorist organizations. And I said, aha, well, I guess that's that's the point, right? You're not taking this speaker level action in the way that actually Facebook and Twitter are against domestic extremists. You're looking only at their videos, and as long as domestic extremists aren't on any sort of government designated list, I guess from YouTube's point of view, they're not going to be dealt with in that way, which isn't to say YouTube has not cracked down on certain large categories of videos, say QAnon content or what have you. But I think it is telling that the only speaker level action they take, which is to say, I'm going to ban you based on the person that you are, that only applies to foreign terrorist organizations.
That's really interesting. I actually hadn't realized they were relying so heavily on the DFTO list.
Hmm. Hmm.